Hi, this is Welsh ASMR 82. How are you doing? Today we're going to do a football history and facts video, and it's going to be on Flamengo of Brazil. Aside from Rio de Janeiro and one of the most successful clubs in South America, we're going to start off doing this in English, and then I will put a timestamp, and about halfway through the video I will do it in Portuguese. I hope you enjoy the video. Here we go. So we're going to take a look at Flamengo Football Club. Ironically, I already did this once, but it wasn't recording. So I know all about what it's going to say. I've done my reading. And the Clube de Regatas do Flamengo is basically a club that was created from a rowing club. So it says Clube de Regatas do Flamengo, Flamengo Rowing Club, commonly referred to as Flamengo, is a Brazilian club based in Rio de Janeiro. So it's in Rio de Janeiro, which is not the capital of Brazil. Remember, Brasilia is the new capital of Brazil. In the neighbourhood of Gavea, best known for their professional football team. Established in 1895 as a rowing club, they played their first official match in 1912. Flamengo's traditional uniform features red and black striped shirts with white shorts and red and black striped socks. I'll show you a picture of that now. There. Same colour, so the white shorts, but the striped socks and shirt matching the club's emblem. Flamengo has typically played their home matches in the Maracanã. If you don't know about the Maracanã, then I answered a little question this week saying that for me it's the most iconic stadium in the world. Of course, it was the site of the World Cup final of the fairly recent World Cup in Brazil, and is in Rio de Janeiro, of course. It's also the stadium of the national team, the Seleção Brasileira. Okay. And that was since 1950 they've been playing in the Maracanã. Although the stadium I just showed you has had some renovation work, with some exceptions in recent years. Since '69, the vulture, urubu in Portuguese, has been the most recognised mascot of Flamengo. They established themselves as one of Brazil's most successful sports clubs in the 20th century, during the era of state leagues in Brazil, when they captured several Campeonato Carioca titles prior to the establishment of the first Brazilian national football championship in '59. So, to give a little bit of background knowledge, Brazil is obviously a huge country, and the way the league worked was that they had local championships, and they still do. They play them at one part of the season because they're generally much smaller, maybe fewer than 10 teams, and then they have the national ones. They're tested against all of the teams in the league. But for example, the Campeonato Carioca is the one just for the Brazil's Rio state of Rio de Janeiro. But because of it's one of the most competitive because of the clubs that are in that area. Botafogo, Flamengo, Fluminense and Vasco da Gama. So it's one of the most competitive states. Since then, they've remained successful in Brazilian football, having won 7 Campeonato Brasileiro Serie A. So just like the Italian league, it's called Serie A in Brazil as well. The 87 Copa União Green Module, 3 Copa do Brazil, it's their FA Cup, and a record 37 Campeonato Carioca, 37 of those championships against Vasco da Gama, Fluminense, etc. Botafogo. They are one of the 3 clubs that have never been relegated from the Serie A. In South American and worldwide competitions, the club's highest achievements are their conquest of the 81 and 2019, so fairly recent, Copa Libertadores, 81 Intercontinental Cup against Liverpool, led by the club's most iconic player, Zico. Flamengo's fiercest and longest-standing rivalries are with the other big 4 of Rio de Janeiro: Fluminense, Botafogo, Vasco da Gama. Flamengo are one of the most popular clubs in Brazil. It says is the most popular club, with 40.2 million supporters as of 2020. It is also Brazil's richest and most valuable football club, with an annual revenue of 950 million reais, which is the local currency. The real in plural is reais. 163 million euros, and a valuation of over 2.9 billion reais, which is equivalent to 469 million euros, which at the moment the euro is a very similar figure to the US dollar and the UK pound, so it's a fairly similar amount in those currencies. I'm just going to move to the right hand side for a second. So we've done the nickname, sorry, the full name, the nickname Urubu Negro, which is scarlet black, and Mingau, the big Mengu, or the Urubu, the vulture. Founded 125 years ago on November 15th, and the capacity of the Maracanã is 78,000 people. The current president is Rodolfo Landim, head coach is Renato Gaúcho, and Serie A they finished first of the 20 teams in 2020, 2021, Carioca. So they won the Carioca Championship, their local one, already this year. I think they played the first quarter of the year, and then the other 3 quarters is the national division, and it's basically 12 months of football in Brazil. But before that, they've got massive squads, like 40 players in their squads. It's crazy. That's the way that I understand it anyway. I'm happy to be corrected in the comments section. So briefly, it was founded in 1895 by a group of rowers gathered at Club Ernesto do Barros Manor on Flamengo Beach. So that's why they're called Flamengo. In the late 19th century, rowing was the elite sport in the region, not football. And the group hoped to impress the young women of the city's high society by establishing a rowing club. Previously, they could only afford a used boat named Verusa, which had to be completely rebuilt before it could be used in competition. So then it tells the story of the rowing. But it says Flamengo's football team was only established after a group of 10 dissatisfied players from Fluminense broke away from the club following a dispute with its board. decided to join Flamengo because the team captain, Alberto Borges, was also a rower for Flamengo, so he played football for Fluminense but rowed for Flamengo. Also, establishing a brand new land sports department at Flamengo was preferable to joining football rivals Botafogo or the all-English club Paysandu. The new members were admitted on the 8th of November 1911. A motion against the club taking part in football tournaments was defeated, and as a result, the members officially established a team on December 24th, Christmas Eve, 1911. It seems inconceivable that Brazilians preferred rowing to football at one point. Okay, so this is all about the early, and this is about Zico. Let's just take a quick look at the side that beat Liverpool. I'm saying this thinking about Kevin, the Whisper Corner, who's a massive Liverpool fan. Picture of Kenny Dalglish there, and I don't know what Zico looked like, but perhaps that's Zico. Oh, yeah, it is Zico. And Flamengo beat them 3-0. I think this is something like a couple of weeks after they won the Copa Libertadores. It's played really quickly afterwards. It was an association football match between Liverpool of England and Flamengo of Brazil, and it happened 6 months before I was born, 13th of December 1981, in Tokyo, Japan. The annual Intercontinental Cup was contested between the winners of the European Cup and the Copa Libertadores. Flamengo qualified for the first time following their cup success. Liverpool were also appearing in their first. They had declined to take part in 77 and 78 after they won the European Cup. On 27th of October 2017, following a meeting held in Kolkata, India, the FIFA Council recognized the winners of Intercontinental Cup as the world champions. But that's more recently. So Liverpool qualified because they defeated Real Madrid 1-0. Flamengo qualified because they won the Copa Libertadores against Cobreloa of Chile 2-0. It's always a two-legged affair, so in the playoff after the previous tie finished 2-2 on points. Watched by 62,000 people, Flamengo took the lead in the 12th minute when João Batista Nunes scored. They extended their lead when Adilio added a second. And then further goal by Nunes in the 41st minute. Liverpool were unable to respond in the second half. Flamengo won the match to secure their first victory in the Intercontinental Cup. It was the fourth successive victory by a South American team. I imagine this is before the days where they sold all their best players to Barcelona, Real Madrid, sides in Italy, sides in England, etc. Can you imagine if Neymar never played outside of Brazil? It's funny, I know what he looks like nowadays. Zico. So, coming up into the main... Oh yes, Ronaldinho playing for Flamengo in 2011. Adriano in 2009. So New Glory 2019 to present. On the morning of February 8th, 2019, a fire erupted at Flamengo's Ninho do Urubu training centre, living quarters. Oh gosh, the fire resulted in the deaths of 10 academy players between the ages of 14 and 17. 3 others were injured. The cause of the fire was a malfunctioning air conditioning unit that caught fire. The President Landim described it as the worst tragedy the club has ever faced. And the state of Rio, the governor, declared a 3-day period of mourning. The 2019 season marked the most successful one in the club's footballing history. At the end of 2018, Landim was elected club president for a 3-year term. Flamengo paid the most expensive incoming transfer fee for a player in Brazilian football history, signing Jorgean de Arrascaeta from Cruzeiro for what would be 14.5 million euros. In January, the club signed forward Bruno Henrique from Santos and secured the loan of striker Gabriel Barbosa from Inter Milan, and then he signed permanently. After advancing in the Copa Libertadores group stage, manager Abel Braga re-signed, and Flamengo hired Portuguese manager Jorge Jesus. Europe-based players Rafinha, Felipe Luis, Pablo Mari and Gerson were added to play alongside Flamengo's other record signings. After qualifying to their first Copa Libertadores semi-final since 1984, Flamengo defeated Grêmio 5-0 in their first home leg at the Maracanã to advance to their first Libertadores final since '81. For the first time in Copa Libertadores history, the final was played as a single match in a neutral venue. On November 23rd, 2019, at the Estadio Monumental in Lima, Peru, against defending champions River Plate of Argentina, Buenos Aires. Flamengo trailed 1-0 in the final minutes before Gabriel scored twice to secure a 2-1 victory. Let's have a look at that team. Oh, that's what a football pitch looks like. And now zoomed up to the top. So Diego Alves in goal, Pablo Mari and Rodrigo Caio in central defence, Felipe Luis. Didn't he play for Barcelona? Rafinha on the right wing, William Arau and Gerson in the middle with De Arrascaeta, Everton Ribeiro and Bruno Henrique on the wings with Gabriel Barbosa, Gabigol up front. Flamengo's crest has changed slightly throughout the club's history. Most of the changes have been changes to the interlocked letters monogram, with the latest redesign being unveiled in 2018. We talked about that kit. And Banco BRB is the current sponsor. That's the inside view of the Maracanã. What a stadium, wow. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the squad before we finish, and in English, and then we'll go on to the version in Portuguese. So many of the same players that we saw a second ago are there. Other ones you may have heard of would be perhaps Andreas Pereira, who's on loan from Manchester United. And anyone else you would know? Kennedy, on loan from Chelsea, played for Newcastle for a couple of years. Enrico, Robert Pires da Mota, David Luiz. I think everyone would have heard of David Luiz of Chelsea and Arsenal. Yeah, so quite a very accomplished squad. Lots of playing history in Europe as well. But yeah, that's the reserve team. And yeah, quite a big team in general. Okay. Well, yeah, and otherwise, if you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the video, then click like for me, please. But if you're still wide awake and you want to go to sleep, then you need to check out this video next, and hopefully that will help send you off to sleep. Thanks everyone so much for your support. See you soon, okay? Adios. Bye-bye.